So, welcome for joining me again for the March for Science Minnesota Everyday Scientist interview series. This series is based on reports over the last year that a lot of Americans report that they don't know any scientists. So, we're working to demystify who and what a scientist can be by bringing fascinating people who live among us who just also happen to be scientists. So, I'm Dr. Nicole Morris. I'm here with Sam Baker. Sam, thank you for agreeing to speak with me today.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm so excited to help tell your story. You live a life that is immersed in the arts. So you're a part of this really fascinating artistic family. And one of the things that you do within the arts is you're a composer of soundscapes. And so these are manipulated and distorted everyday sounds and some pre-existing music. And even more fascinating is that you make much of this for your wife Anat's contemporary live dance performances. So can you tell me a little bit more about how this all came about?
Yeah, sure. Uh, Before I got into engineering, I went to the McNally Smith College of Music in St. Paul for recording engineering. And as part of that, I learned a lot about production techniques and a lot of tools for creating music and soundscapes. And at the time, my wife, Anat Shinar, was at school at the University of Minnesota studying dance. And she was working on a performance and asked me to help her make some sounds for it and put some music together for it. And through that, I started making sounds for other choreographer friends of hers, and we've just continued with it over the years.
That's awesome. That's really great. So, you know, I'm I'm excited to hear a little bit more about what you do for your full-time job, because you do this composure on the side, and you're an electrical engineer, correct? And I really don't know that much about electrical engineering. I probably should, but this is your opportunity to inform me. But because scientists have such a hard time at communicating what we do in a nice condensed version in a way that people can easily digest, I'm going to put a challenge to you, which is to tell me what you do in 30 seconds or less. Are you up for it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm starting the timer and go.
Okay. Well, electrical engineering is a really broad kind of term. I work as a embedded firmware engineer, which means I write software for embedded systems, which are small dedicated electrical systems with a small dedicated computer chip that basically reads different inputs, switches and sensors and things like that, and controls outputs, which are basically any electrical device.
Perfect. Like to the second. Nice work. Okay. So, those, in some ways I can see how they're similar to one another, but I'm really curious kind of what came first, your kind of interest in work in arts, or was it science?
It's really hard to say which one was first. I always kind of I was always drawn to music and sounds as a child, but I also really liked to take things apart and try to figure out how things worked. So, I took piano lessons as a kid, and then that transitioned into drums. And I played the drums for a number of years. And I always had kind of a good sense for rhythm. But I was also really good with numbers and really curious to learn how things worked. And those two kind of crossed paths a lot, and that's kind of how I ended up getting into recording engineering, kind of being involved with music, but kind of in the technical side of music.
Yeah, that makes total sense how those two sort of evolved together. So, are there ways that you feel like science informs your music, or vice versa?
Yeah, I think that science really informs my music a lot, actually. Um, for example, the piece that we're working on right now um, has kind of led me to exploring kind of audio illusions, and that's led me to learn more about how the brain perceives and processes audio, and the way that uh, the brain can be tricked into hearing things that aren't there, or perceiving sounds differently than how they're actually happening.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing, actually. I love perception, so I wish we could talk more all day about that, actually, but we'll have to move on. So you have young children, and I'm curious, like, are you working in ways to help foster love and growth both in the arts and in science?
Yes, absolutely. Um, uh, in addition to choreography, my wife Anad also teaches a lot of dance, and ever since our oldest daughter is 6, and ever since she was a newborn, she's been, we've been taking her to dance classes, or she's gone to rehearsals with Anat, or we've taken her to the shows that Anat has danced in. So she's always just been immersed in dance and has always loved dance. But she's also very naturally inquisitive, and we've kind of she has a lot of kind of science themed toys that she really loves, and she loves nature, and she loves to find things and make observations about them, and kind of write things down, and so she's really got a lot of both the arts and the science.
Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful. Um, so I'm curious, do you feel like scientists are kind of unfairly assumed to be averse to the arts or creative expression? Is that like a stereotype that you experience when you tell people what you do on the side?
Yeah, it is, and I think it really exists from outside of the scientific community. I think it's absolutely false, though. A number of people that I have known over the years and work with are either patrons of the arts. They love to go see art in galleries and museums. They go see live theater or dance shows. There's a number of people I know that play musical instruments and play in bands and things like that. So I think that there is a misconception that scientists are averse to the arts.
Yeah, yeah. So then I'm wondering, do you have any advice for scientists that are looking to try to express themselves in maybe a more creative way or through the arts, or maybe vice versa for people that are in the arts that are looking to get that more technical aspect of their life to get into sciences or STEM fields?
Yeah, really, uh, either direction. For scientists that are looking to explore their artistic side, there's so many different ways. I mean, you can go and go to a gallery and see art, or if you want to learn how to paint, you can take classes, or with the internet, there's videos on YouTube on different, on technique, on how to draw and how to paint, or how to play a musical instrument. You just gotta, if you're curious about it, pick it up and explore it. Scientists tend to be kind of figure it out type of people, and
Right?
there's a lot of good tools to help you figure things out for yourself.
Right.
And even in the other direction, for people that are curious about science, there's just so much information that's readily available to learn about any topic that you could possibly be interested in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Just just have to pick it up and do it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I've learned so much talking with you, and I'm excited for other people to hear about your life, and hopefully they will be inspired to explore the arts and explore sciences more as an outcome of this. So, thank you so much for the rest of us in terms of what's coming up for March for Science Minnesota. please join us at our upcoming Rally for Science on April 14th at the Minnesota State Capitol in St. Paul and the grounds in front of the building. I hope to see you there, and thank you for joining us. Thanks, Sam.